This show is sponsored by William Hill's Final One Standing. It's free to play and there's $500,000 up for grabs. It's the ultimate elimination game.
How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Fourever Arsenal podcast. I say welcome back every single show, but this one really feels like a welcome back. It's been a couple weeks at the very least that we haven't done this podcast. We was obviously out in Singapore and Hong Kong. Jordan's probably been out somewhere. He's always all over the gaff, but he's probably enjoyed the smiles on his face. And it's good to be back, people. All four of us in the building, full house. First week of August, just over a week to go before Premier League action kicks off again. Liverpool, Bournemouth on Friday, and obviously Arsenal United on Sunday. Super Sunday to kick off the Premier League 25-26 season. But yeah, we are back. Lee, James, I've had enough of you guys. But Jordan, I kind of missed you, man.
Oh, brother, I've missed you too, man. You guys just went away, gallivanting across the continent of Asia, forgot about me, no remote pods. Who's Jordan? But it's fine. It's fine. I didn't watch your content either, so it's fine.
No worries. I mean, Lee, James, did we miss Jordan, or was we trying to get Curtis to do a fill-in for him out there?
Well, listen, I'm going to be honest. You know, someone did want Curtis to come into it, but I think me and James sort of pushed for you, Jordan. You know, we sort of like had your back. I'm going to say that we had your back. Like a certain person didn't, but we certainly did, my man. We certainly did.
Yeah, you need to stop using this roaming camera, moving around like
I don't know what. When I'm away, this is I roam away when I'm away. Come here.
He's got the action camera on for forever. That camera's meant for something else, Lee. Come on, man.
I say nothing.
Oh, mate.
Well, just
James,
before we say something, we're going to have to change the intro because James is a different person now. Like, you know what I mean? It's a complete James. You ever looked at James then to James now? It's a different model.
He's grown up.
Model. It's
big boy now.
He's got to jog around Emirates Stadium for the next intro. That's what he's got.
Yeah, that's the one he's got to do. Yeah, he's got to do that. Like,
yeah, that's a good shout.
But he looks completely different. I was going back, something old come up on my story yesterday, and it's like a different person, completely different person.
Yeah, fresh. James, a lot of comments about your new look appearance. It's weird because we see each other so often.
Yeah,
you don't see the drastic changes as much as the community do at times. But yeah, feeling fresh.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I've just been. Don't know. You know what? Arsenal have been so frustrating for the last year. It's made me go out and run and take my frustration out on them. But yeah, it's all good. It's good to be back. What's it been? 3 weeks since we've done a pod? Something like that.
Yeah, and you wasn't on the last one before we left. I don't believe.
Yeah, I can do the one before, so it's been a long time.
Nah, that was the one where he woke up and said, "Even if I knew about it, I wouldn't be doing it."
That's true, by the way. Even if I'd remembered you idiots, I still wouldn't have come. I still wouldn't have joined. But
didn't even get in my bad, Lee. Didn't even get in my bad.
No, not even in my. It's disgusting, really. Like, you know what I mean? So
who schedules in a Fourever Arsenal for Saturday morning? What a complete waste of everyone's time.
There's a certain, you know what I mean? Like, and listen, James, he lapped it up as well. Don't get me wrong, because I was late for that one.
Yeah. You did say.
He lapped it up, like, you know what I mean? Like,
but guys, don't take the piss here. You know, I'm still owed a bit of money for a couple football shirts, and I'm telling you what, I'm liking all three this year. They're looking good. You've got the deal. You know what I mean? You've just got to go and get them. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know if one's expired. I think
one's expired. No, one's definitely expired.
Nah, I would say I've given you plenty of time to save. If anything, I've been more considerate. So I'm going to go on a lovely walk around the Emirates, around the Armoury. I tell you what, I'll compromise. I won't get the match-worn shirt and save you all a little bit there. How nice of me.
Very kind of you, James. Yeah.
Now I just need to pick which two of the three I like.
Difficult.
That's not really a hard choice, is it?
I
Do you
think.
think it's the home and the third?
Home
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
third?
Yeah,
I
don't
like that away kit.
don't like
I
the
like
away
that
kit.
away kit. It is nice. It is nice. I'll see.
What
Maybe
about-
when I tell you what, I'll get the third kit too ahead of me winning the prediction league this year as well. You can just pay me in advance.
What are you going to do? Free Pete?
Who come
Why
bottom
not?
this year? Who come bottom this year's got to pay a little bit extra? Who actually did come
Me.
bottom?
Me.
Oh,
No, it was me or you. I don't know, man. One of
no,
us.
I know. Well, it wasn't me, so don't worry about that. Like, you know what I mean? So I
don't
know
know,
that
man.
for a fact. So,
No, we'll have to check.
so I'm the only one here then that's never come bottom. Is that correct?
I mean, bottom, second, this you
Because
get
we've
the
all
same-
won
I've
one
definitely
now.
come last. Yeah, I've definitely
Do I
come
We've all
come
won
bottom
one.
as well?
We've all won one, haven't we? Now, yeah.
No.
Oh
I'm
no,
not-
someone else. Sorry, my mistake. Right, sorry. How foolish of me to think that.
I've not won one, but I don't think I've come bottom either.
I think you have.
Oh, I think you
Yeah,
have.
I'm pretty sure you have.
I guarantee you have. You know?
I mean, the odds on that one ain't. You know,
Yeah. God, dear, oh dear.
Can I just-
William Hill won't even take a bet on that. I'll tell you. Unreal.
Since we're talking about revamping the intro, what about my part on the intro, Lee? I think I saw you on the wrap up of Singapore, Hong Kong. You mentioned I've got a bad reputation of being late, and I was never late. I mean, I've done enough now.
Yeah, I think like you can have a little change up of yours.
No.
Listen, I've got to say, he was when it comes to timing and things on the trips.
It's true,
he was pretty good. I don't think he never turned.
Sorry, Lee. No,
Go on,
I
sorry.
think Tuggs, he's the Jesus of the squad. Like he has a good run, and you think, oh, and then he's out again for 6 months. I'm not sure. I'm convinced yet. I'm not convinced. Not
Yeah, I know that is true. But he was, on the tour, he was very good. I have to say that, James. He was, wasn't he? I don't think he was down late for anything.
The funny thing about the Jesus analogy is Turkish actually had knee surgery about 3 years ago.
Yeah, 2 of them.
Still ain't recovered.
Yeah.
He still ain't recovered.
Nah, I'm
Any
still
time there was,
struggling.
shall we walk or get a cab? You say, my knee injury's playing up like that. He's playing up. Just jump in a cab.
My nan did say, "Oh, look after your knees, man." And here we are, me and Jesus out with knee injuries. But yeah, look at the sympathy on the show, people. Hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribed. Sorry, I know some people don't like this beginning segment, especially when it's been quite a little while since we've spoken. But we're a group of friends that don't talk anywhere else apart from this show. In day-to-day life,
There's no games.
we can't stand each other and we just ignore each other in the WhatsApp groups. And when it's time to record, we're here to talk and act like we like each other. Real friends. But yeah, before we keep it moving, obviously there's a lot of football stuff to catch up on, especially get the thoughts of Jordan when you've been seeing us regularly on the channel throughout the last 2 weeks. Jordan's voice hasn't been as loud, but I'm sure he will make up for it today. This Forever Arsenal podcast is brought to you by William Hill and their brand new game, free to play game, by the way. So it's free to play. It's a brand new game. It's called Final One Standing. And to be honest, I've played this game a few times over the years in different workplaces, more often than not called Last Man Standing, but you should already know what it's about. There's a QR code on the screen and the link in the description. But yeah, us four will be taking part on top of the prediction league. We'll be entering a team every week from game week 1. So we've got a little time before we have to make those picks, but I'm already looking ahead at the game week 1 fixtures and working it out, people, because I play to win.
Yeah, it's basically a free-to-play game where all you've got to do is pick one Premier League team to win each week. If they win, then you stay in. If they lose or draw, then you're out. The big one there's the draw, It's not like... they got to win. The twist is that you can only pick one team. Once you've picked them, you can't use them again for the rest of the season. So you've got to pick smart, look ahead at different games, just be strategic about when you want to use those teams. But yeah, it's a great game, guys.
Yeah, it does seem like a good game, and also, you've got a chance of betting £500,000 for the winner, Now, even Jordan might be out to win on it. But listen, no, guys, if you're a Jordan, you've got a chance. But I'll tell you what was interesting in this game. I don't know about you guys. I cannot have Spurs to win a game. You know what I mean? So I'm not picking Spurs. I'm going to leave them to the end, and hopefully, Because could you imagine if you got like 500k riding on it, and you got to pick Spurs.
But you have to though along the way to win that. You're gonna.
Well,
have
not really. If you keep it going, and they're the last one, and Spurs are in it, and you might bag it. You might bag
the
it.
last one, you're still gonna have to hope they win.
But you can win before you've got to Spurs.
Yeah.
Spurs, yeah. That's what that's the theory I'm going down. You know, or do you play them in their first game? But then I don't want Spurs to win a game, guys. I really don't, like, you know what I mean? So it's a tough one. I think leave them out, like, you know.
There's a few that I don't want to see winning, but yeah.
But I'll tell you what, though, as the nearer it goes on, and the more and more, you know, we could be Man United fans or Liverpool fans or God, interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, if you want to play, download the William Hill app, scan the code on screen or hit the link below and sign up to Final One Standing and make your pick first. Let's see who is the Final One Standing. Remember, it's 18 plus UK only. Please gamble responsibly. Terms and conditions apply with full terms in the link below.
Jordan's confused.
Yeah, I nicked his lines.
Yeah, I was going to say, wasn't that mine?
Lee went on for so long. I was just like, let me just.
I actually forgot about it.
I know you did. I could see it in your eyes. I went, this guy's forgotten his lines. Let me just jump in. And save the read.
You wouldn't think that I read auto cues for a living, would you? I totally forgot about.
It's actually true.
What are you saying here? That you had lines? It was just nothing was off the cuff. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Hey? That man has blagged the living for I don't know how long. How has he done it? I do not know. He don't know his lines. He's forgotten.
Mate, I'm the. Who can I compare? What footballers blagged the living? Who can I compare myself to? Who's blagged the football career?
Kai Havertz.
Oh wow.
That's bang out of all the lot. There was a special moment in Singapore. Was it Singapore or Hong Kong?
Hong Kong. Yeah.
When the two men clashed and met. Really good.
Yeah, we did. He knows my thoughts, and I know his thoughts.
Yeah,
we'll leave it at that.
You're making it out like Kai tried to scrap you.
No.
I think he tried.
Moment for Lee.
It was a proud. No, it was a proud moment. I have to say, It was a moment where Turkish was slightly behind me and Robbie. He come and shook Robbie's hand and my hand, and then went back. Sort of had to go back on himself to shake Turkish's hands, and it was a real proper. It was a real surreal moment. I said, I commented afterwards how good it was, because it was like two alpha males, not backing down, like, you know, in the jungle of Hong Kong. It was fantastic, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was a real moment. Like, you could tell that Kai knows that what he thinks of him, and Turkish was not going to, and it was a real good moment. I'll tell you that, you know, classic.
Yeah,
all this over a handshake, by the way.
Yeah. It was
the way Lee's got unbelievable moment. You had
to be there. You had to be there because it was a little bit. It was. I wouldn't say tense is the word Turkish, would it? But there was something there, wasn't there? Like, you know,
it must have been for you. The way
I watched the video, there was nothing. It was a nice handshake. Kai was really polite.
Yeah, but you know, in that moment, Lee and Robbie must have been thinking. As soon as Kai reached out his hand, they must have been thinking, "Is Turkish just gonna slap this hand away from him?" Or is
it was a moment of tension. There was. It was a good moment. They both. It was both respectful. It was a respectful handshake there.
Listen, as always, which is the case for any player that I've either praised or criticized. It's never anything personal. It's nothing against the person. It's about the player. That's my opinions and where they're based on when we talk about football. So.
And I think that's the thing, is that like the players respect that, don't they? I think like Kai respects that, whether you like him or you don't. It's what it is,
well,
you know what I mean? So
275k, I'd respect it as well.
But let's be honest, guys. I very much doubt Kai Havertz know who the hell Turkish is.
No, he did.
I wouldn't be too. I'm telling you, I wouldn't be too.
I'm telling you, he did, and he tried to kick the ball at him a few times. You know,
really?
I chested it down and I showed him how to finish. I don't want to say too much, but if they need a
100%, he knew who he was. I'm telling you that was probably what made it a little bit. And the players do know because we had a little bit of interaction. They know, but certainly Kai Havertz knows Turkish. Just 100%, you could tell that.
Yeah,
So
there was something there. There was something there. But I'll never change. Look, we started the pod in similar fashion. Honest, concise, and we've got quite a bit to catch up on, Jordan. Let me start with you, Jordan, because what do you want to talk about? It's been a few weeks since you've actually got to talk to us about anything related. Let's keep it Arsenal related before we hit Netflix and whatever else.
In that case, I'm out. Well, it's funny you mentioned that, actually, because let's have a chat. I mean, you guys are probably, I've just for context, I have properly plugged out over the summer with football. I've watched very little. I covered the women's Euros. Big up the women, the Arsenal ladies that were a part of the women's Euros. We should give them a quick mention later as well. But apart from the women's Euros, I've not watched pretty much any football this whole summer. And even content. I watched a couple of videos of you guys, but I've really much plugged out of the whole summer.
Shocking.
Right?
I hear it. No, I hear it, Jordan. I
just the 9 months of the season is so intense and there's so much to kind of consume you. I need that 2-month break where I'm just like, and you guys know I hate the transfer window. You know I hate it anyway, so I just miss me with that. But Gyökeres, right? He's in the bag. We've got him signed up. I'd love to hear you lot's thoughts on the very brief debut. I think it was like 10 minutes he made in the Spurs game. But he's in the bag. My brief thoughts are the same as they were when we were linked with him. He wasn't the guy that I would have gone for. I do have some slight concerns, but we've got him. We've got him in the bag. He's my striker. I'm going to back him. I think he'll score lots of goals. I think he's a very, very good centre forward. I heard some words used when we were linked with him a few weeks back, like excited and goosebumps and, needle mover. I don't think any of those things personally. I'm not excited by Gyökeres. I'm more excited by the fact that we've signed the number 9. That's what I'm personally more excited by. I'm not as excited by him as everybody else is. But like I said, he's our striker. He's here. I'll back him. I want him to bang. But something he said he did his first interview, I think, with Arsenal, the in-house content team, right? And he was asked a question. I think it was a quick fire thing. He said, I would love to get you lot's thoughts on this. He was asked a question: would you rather score a hat-trick or get a last-minute winner? And he said hat-trick. And I didn't like that. I didn't like it, right? And somebody's kind of spun it to me in a way that I could kind of understand and see. Someone spun it in a way that said, this is a guy that lives for goals. We want a striker that all he cares about is goals. Goals, 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 goals. Lives for goals. And I thought, okay, I kind of want my striker to be a bit of a goal pig. That's not a bad thing. But a hat-trick or a last-minute win, I mean, you can score a hat-trick and lose. So the fact that his answer wasn't intrinsically to win the game, I wouldn't say I was concerned, but I didn't love that. And I just didn't know if I was being a little bit over the top or what you lot's thoughts were on that and what that says about his mentality. Over to you.
I don't know. Probably in that moment, he just thought, which one's more goals? I'll take that one. But I guess if it was framed to him, you score a hat-trick in a 3-3 draw or you score a winner in a 2-1 win, I expect then he goes more towards the winner. Because more often than not, you score a hat-trick, your chances of winning that game are... I know there's been many examples of players scoring hat-tricks. They ain't gone on to win the game. Mbappe hat-trick 5 World Cup final, for example. But... generally, when when asked about goals, you're gonna go for the option with more. But I don't know. I'm with you. I get you.
It just smacked to me of
hat-trick with a last-minute winner. How about that?
No, he should have said both. But really, I'd rather my striker say, I'd rather score 12 goals and win the Prem than be the Golden Boot winner and come third.
They're a different mentality, though, Jordan. Like, I've been on coaches played with centre forwards with 1-2-0 and the forward ain't scored, and he's not happy. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, when we've lost 2-1, and you know what I mean, he's bagged his goal. He seems to be a lot more happier with that than when they once. They're a different breed. They're not likeable, if I'll be honest. You know what I mean? Like in the concept, because they are a little bit selfish. You know, the proper ones I'm talking about. I play with some strikers at my level that are selfish. You know, it's all about the goals and whatever. But I think you need that, and I think that's something that we haven't got. I think if you look at Kai Havertz, I think he goes to bed just as happy if he's created a chance or scored it. But that proper set, you know, the Ian Wrights of this world and all that, like, it's all about goals, and I think that we need that. Like, you know, I did pick up on what you said there, but I just thought, like, that's a typical goal scoring mentality, like, you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I think part of the excitement and all that, I mean, a lot of it's down to that whole 9 search for how many years and not having that profile. I think the reality is, if you haven't watched James's interview from the last game against Tottenham,
yeah, what an interview, by the way. What an interview that
was. Clip that's gone viral. We often forget to mention, Arteta's part to play in this. We can want all the players in the world, whether it's me and Rodrigo, whether it was us and Isak. Arteta does have some tactical tweaks to make, and I think even the 14-minute showing, which the internet has run away with. This is modern day social media. This is what happens now. It highlights, and the tour itself highlights the need for Arteta to be able to change it up to suit him. So I am excited by the signing. I'd stop short at goosebumps because I feel like we need more for sure, at least 2 more, which we're not going to get. We might not even get 1 more. But in terms of the profile, we need it. I'm excited to see if Arteta can make it work, because he has to make it work. And that's where James's interview, I think, in terms of the difference between others.
Sorry, man. What was the interview? Sorry, I missed that.
After the game against Spurs, he articulates it absolutely spot on, like, you know what I mean? It's a really good... Listen, anybody that ain't seen it, go back and listen to it, because it's not critical of anything. It's just putting hard facts down. After a disappointing game as well, like, to sort of take the emotion out of the game and say what he said. I was like a nodding donkey watching it, like, I mean, it was just everything, couldn't have happened to just agree with everything he said. He's spot on, absolutely spot on about where we are at this moment. And a little bit worrying, if I'll be honest, a little bit worrying.
On your channel, James, or on AFTV?
No, so it was Robbie interviewing me, and someone clipped up about 1 minute, 20 seconds of it. Right. Yeah, to be fair, it did the rounds on socials. The point I was making in it is, you can sign all the players you want, but if Arteta doesn't evolve the system, then there's only so far you can go. And we've seen a lot of the same patterns, and some of them I highlighted was the fact that we ask our left back to invert, and that's it. We never see them go on the overlap. Declan Rice is out on the touchline. Odegaard's out on the other touchline. Our wingers are either isolated on one side or got the support of an overlap in Ben White, but that's kind of it. And the striker's got to sort of do all the work to bring it all together. And I just said, this has been what we've done for years. And yes, it's tweaked a little bit in 23-24. We did do a few different things in more of a 4-4-2 shape, but generally this has been how Arteta's always done things. And, I'm just, what's frustrating is, I think the line I basically said was, the difference between Arteta, Guardiola, and then Slot last year wasn't just players. It's a coaching thing too. So I love that we've got 6 new signings. I'm desperate for Eze to come in. I think he'd make a massive difference. But it's got to come from Arteta as well. He's got to have different ideas. Because I was watching that North London derby, and we were trying to break Spurs down in the exact same way. And I don't think the difference between us winning over the last 3 years and not was purely player quality. So those are my concerns, that in 3 pre-season games, and I guess now, we're obviously going into the whole reviewing of how tour went. What was more concerning for me was, I think we tried a few different things. I think Zubimendi gave us something a little bit different in midfield. I definitely think we tried to go long a lot more, which I'm not sure if I like that. But generally, it was the same stuff. I didn't really see anything that suggested to me that Arteta was really trying to come into this with fresh ideas. I think he's banking on the better players he's got, evolving what he had quite naturally, and I'm not sure that's right. I don't think that's the only gap between us.
Couldn't agree with you more. Couldn't agree. After watching that tour, I'm more, like, when you bump into people, where do you think you're going to come in the league? I'm third, unless Gyökeres just does a madness, because I don't think it's going to be an individual, not the manager, and not the team. The way that they're going to play, they're going to keep doing this stuff. If Gyökeres bangs and becomes a complete beast for us, then I don't see... I see him struggling at this moment in time. I see him struggling, not because whatever, just into the system, because I don't think that the system is going to suit him. If I'll be really honest, I don't. You know what I mean? Never got a touch of the ball in that game. Look, listen, you can go on about fitness and things like that. We knew that we weren't going to see him absolutely brilliant because we'd watched the training session. He's well behind everybody else, which is, again, another thing that we can go on about. You know, right, we got him, but by saving a couple of £1 million, it might cost us at the beginning because he's not going to be quite up to scratch. But I just fear at Arsenal at the moment, unless, and then, do you know, I don't know if you've been getting it over. Obviously, you must have been like, you know, oh, if we don't get Eze, we're looking for the next best thing underneath it and all that. Like, and this is the difference between Manchester City and Liverpool. They're not worried about the second or third best; they're getting the best. And if Arsenal need the best creative midfielder down that left-hand side that's available, not the second or the third, the best. Because I tell you what, if we don't get it, guys, don't matter what you've got, we're not winning this league. We'll be there and thereabouts again. Like, the creativity of this side is so poor. Why don't we try Odegaard on the left-hand side and Declan Rice on the right-hand side in pre-season friendlies? Not tried anything different, like, you know. But Rice is struggling in that role. We're not getting the best out of Declan Rice. We're certainly not getting the best out of Martinelli because of this system. And I don't think we're going to get the best out of Gyökeres in this system.
And Lee, what's crucial about that is, sorry, Jordan, I did a video on the Gooniverse that came out yesterday, and the point I was trying to make was, we're not miles away. Arteta doesn't have to rip up the playbook. He can just tweak a few things. I'll give you an example, right? Would it be so bad if he played a double pivot with Rice and Zubimendi, and that was your two in front of the back four? Would it be so bad if Lewis Skelly overlapped and you asked your left winger to tuck in a little bit? Then you've still got the 3-2-4-1 shape that he wants. You've still got, you know, that sense of a box midfield. You've still got sort of width in Saka and maybe Lewis Skelly. But you know, we've got something different. You've got a left footer going on the outside in Lewis Skelly. You've got Declan Rice maybe to the right of Zubimendi, so he can bomb up and down and support Saka. You've got Zubimendi, who actually, if you look at any heat map, he drifts towards the left. And I think you saw that in pre-season. He actually drifts towards that side and might unlock something different there. And then the players like Martinelli and Trossard, who are better on the inside anyway, and Eze, if we sign him, then they're getting into the pockets that they're more comfortable in. Like, that's not ripping up the playbook. That's not saying, Arteta, everything you've done is terrible, tearing it apart. It's just getting players in the areas they're more comfortable in. I don't know why you'd want Martinelli and Trossard on the touchline and Declan Rice all the way out there trying to support them. Look, none of them are natural in that position. I don't know why we wouldn't just tweak it and get them nearer to the areas that they play their best football.
Sorry, Jordan, go on.
Go on. You go.
You made another good point on tour, not on camera, I think, this one, but you mentioned the need for a Norgard, let's say, rather than the need for maybe a more mobile 8 in terms of in the 6th position. I mean, I agree with you. A double pivot with both Rice and Zubimendi there, allowing maybe an Odegaard or Nwaneri, whoever starts in that 10 or is in that 10, to float either side a bit more is something fresh. But you mentioned the Norgard signing and how needy it was for the squad we have now. Maybe, you know, should have looked at an 8 that, you know, we could have brought in to take some of the attention away from Rice, because as much as I think Rice has done well in the 8, I mean, you know, that was never his natural position. He comes in and, you know, Havertz doesn't hit the ground running, Rice slots in, and, you know, he hasn't looked back since. There is limitations to Rice's game there, and I think over the years, once a lot of our threats, you know, were nullified, especially last season, it became pretty easy to mark not a Saka out the game, but limit his contributions to the game. And that same can be said for Rice as well, because, you know, the midfield still doesn't have the adequate ingredients for a successful meal, in my opinion. I still think we're lacking that 8 profile. That, again, me and James over the years, Odegaard 8, you know, it'd be nice to see that. Is that something we could see? I doubt it, because in pre-season it would have been nice to see it with maybe an Ethan in the 10 then. You know, because it's pre-season, you know, it is friendlies, even though it's never a friendly with Tottenham. I get that, but I'd understand it more if you're trying something different and we lose the game than trying the same stuff we've been seeing over the last 12 months and losing the game. I think there's a different feeling to it.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I think that's the right point as well, because I had a couple of friends that were also out there following the tour like you guys were as well, and he came back saying that he wasn't impressed. He was a bit concerned. But as you said, pre-season is also to try and work out what doesn't work. And maybe there's an argument to suggest that it didn't go very, very well. But what they'll take away, they being Arteta and the staff, will take away is, cool, we did this and this and this. We're not doing that ever again. So hopefully what you saw out in Asia, they'll scrap that and you won't see it, because it didn't, by all accounts, it didn't work. So, but I think your point there, Turkish, is also relevant in terms of if you try something different, it doesn't work, then at least the fans can say, all right, cool, they tried something different, but we're trying the same thing by all reports that's not working anyway. So I think they've got a lot of work to do. I think the mentality is equally as important as the tactics that he has to change in this team. I'm not. I'll start watching some content from some content creators, but I imagine the general consensus is that the transfer window has been a good one, a very good one. I refer back to Lee's earlier point. I think Lee's bang on. I don't think it's an amazing transfer window because you haven't gone and got the best in class. Apart from Zubimendi, every other position you've either squad players, which are important, or they're the guy that you can get rather than the guy that you really want. And I think this Isak to Liverpool thing is an example of, you could have got Isak. Isak was gettable. If Arsenal would have moved 6 weeks ago for Isak, I think they get him. But they didn't move him because I don't know if they thought they couldn't get him. All talk was that, Newcastle got Champions League football. Why would he leave? Well, I think he's going to Liverpool still. So he was gettable. Gyökeres is a very good centre forward. Is he better than Isak? I don't think he is. So not getting the best in class, again, just feels like Arsenal have gone some way, but not really finished the job. They've not gone all the way in. And that, I think, might be a concern come the middle, second half of the season. Did we really get the guys that were real difference makers? Or did we just get good players into the squad? Do you know what I mean?
Can I add as well? Yeah, I think Eze would take us a big leap forward because I can stomach not signing Isak if it meant we got Gyökeres and Eze and Madueke and Zubimendi and there was a squad to address, and I can deal with that. But one of the points I wanted to raise before we just sort of move away from it, because I feel like we maybe are, watching Arsenal on pre-season, I thought Mourinho was better than Rice on pre-season, guys. I thought he obviously scored the goal. And I don't know if you guys remember in the Newcastle game, he whipped a lovely ball into the box from the left wing, which Kai Havertz headed over the bar. Yeah. That's because as a left footer, he's more natural out there. And sometimes I find myself going, if this is absolutely how you're going to play, Mikel, and you're not going to move away from it, then apart from the big games where Declan Rice... But making it sound like Declan Rice can't play that position, of course he can. He can play it brilliantly. But Mourinho, as a left footer, is more suited out there. You saw the goal he scored. He's more suited to making those runs off a striker. But also, Waneri is more suited to that role than Ødegaard's, because if he's going to interchange with Saka on the touchline, then at least with Waneri, you've got more of a ball-carrying threat on the outside. At the moment, Ødegaard is staying so far away from the congested area of the game that he's not having the kind of impact he wants, because we're not just chucking him right in the middle where he can use his guile and a little bit of trickery and quick feet and passing to unlock a defense. He's staying out the game a lot. And I don't actually think that's what he wants to do necessarily. I think he's kind of asked to do that. And I again, it just goes back to, can we just flip it? Could it be Ødegaard on the left of the midfield three who's whipping the ball into the box to Kai Havertz? And can it be Declan Rice who's making bombing runs in beyond Bukayo Saka? I mean, why not? They're all on their more comfortable foot, or at least try. We've got 2 more pre-season games. And actually, when people say, Mikel Arteta won't do this, Mikel Arteta won't do that, we've seen him do it. And I keep going back to the Etihad. When we were 2-1 up at half-time, before Trossard got sent off, we didn't have Ødegaard. So Trossard was playing basically up front with Havertz. And he was drifting left 8, and Rice was bombing up and down right 8, and it worked. But we haven't seen it since. And I find that really strange.
The funny thing is, and having a little good think about this, you have a look at Arsenal's, all of their games are all this moment in pre-season have been all the games when we're having the ball and we're trying to break down low block teams. I did right what you say there. It's not an issue when we're playing a team that's going to come at us with Declan Rice. Declan Rice can do that job. It's when it's lack of space. It's a lack of you ain't got that much in there on the ball. So when you're in that position, say of a Declan Rice, and we're not having a go at Declan Rice when we say this,
Of course we're not.
but when you're in tight pockets, you need to be natural. So your first touch is on your left foot, and it gives you that little bit of time. So Marino, in that, you're dead right in there, James. He hasn't got to worry about getting onto his right foot to play the crossing. It's naturally whipped in with his left. Where Declan, in those tight little areas, has got to get it onto his right, time's blocked out. And there was 3 or 4 occasions against Spurs, if he just played it with his left foot, we had players in, but he couldn't do it. So what happens now is, when you're playing against a Man City or a team that's attacking, you've got a little bit more space, so you can have that extra touch. And I know it sounds silly, but it is. And that is the problem we've got. So maybe he's looking at these games and thinking, I'll tell you what, we need to play low block teams to see if we can break them down and whatever. So we've got 2 games left now. I think that we need to do that. If you have a look at the teams that we're playing, the first 2 games, I think Man United will let us have the ball, and I think Leeds will. I don't think Liverpool will. So I think we need to find a way of breaking it down. We haven't. And I'm totally with this. If we go and sign Eze, I get what we're saying. But if we go and get a 3rd or 4th choice player in that position, you know what I mean? I think that's a poor from Arsenal. Like, you know what I mean? Go and get the best player in that creative role. Go and get Gyökeres. It's a good, you know, and Zubimendi's going to play a different role this season to what Partey had. So I think it would be a little slight change in what we do.
We are 36 minutes and 8 seconds into this podcast. Are we gonna address the elephant in the room, gents?
Which is
now?
So maybe people just send this to me and DMing me because they know my thoughts on the flirter, right? But if Turkish is correct in what he said for the last few weeks, that if we do bring in Eze, he hopes that it'll be used more centrally and not as a left winger. I've been hearing people have been DMing me saying that Martinelli's performances in pre-season, that he was anonymous, and that was the most polite description of his performances. Is the left winger position becoming more important than Eze in the 10?
I think that I think from January the realization was that left wing is probably as important as striker. You know, that's why for me Kvaratskhelia was such a big miss, was such a market opportunity in January, because as much as we've been crying out for a striker for a longer period, I think the necessity of a new player in that position was pretty like for like, in terms of how important the left wing upgrade is in comparison to the striker upgrade. And then after that, it was a central figure, in my opinion. Now, obviously, people argue as they can play left, he can play central, and that bodes well. But you mentioned Martinelli here in terms of, you know, anonymous. I don't think Odegaard covered himself in much, you know, rose petals over the preseason tour either. So, you know, there is still the same problems we saw at the end of last year. And that's what's most frustrating about the preseason game we've just seen, which culminated in a North London derby loss, which really means nothing in the big scheme of things. But going back to James's point, this is the time to be trying things out. So, yeah, I'm not too...
Let's be
on
honest.
Martinelli. Sorry.
Roger.
Okay, on Martinelli, just quickly. He has to be doing more. Fundamentally has to be doing more. There's, you know, you watch him, and I thought every time Trossard and Nelson came on, albeit later in the game, maybe it's a bit more stretched, maybe the fullback's tired, but every time they came on, I thought they looked better. And do you know what's quite sad? And I love Martinelli. I don't know if anyone stuck up for him more on the work rate front than I have, but they looked technically a level above him, and I think that's just a bit, you know, they look like they just had more ideas with the ball at their feet. However, I do still believe that Mikel Arteta gives him an obscene amount of defensive work to do, which means the natural thing for him, which is to run into space. It's not to get the ball to feet and beat someone. It's actually to run into that space, attack space in behind, and let his instincts in front of goal do the talking. I think he's definitely technically good enough to hurt teams in those areas. I think that is an issue that I think he struggles to get past, and I think that's a coaching issue. I think shoving him out the touchline the whole time, I think it's a coaching issue. But also, I was watching every time he got the ball, and Declan Rice or Mourinho, whoever it was, were often driving into the box, almost like getting away from helping him. Lewis Skelly comes short for maybe a pass, but there's never a 1-2 on that. I'm not blaming Lewis Skelly. I think it's the dynamics of that team. Arteta seems to give Saka a lot of help down that side because he's got Erdegaard, he's got the 6 coming over, he's got Ben White. There's kind of 3 or 4 players constantly drifting around Saka. Having said that, Saka, I think, gets doubled up on more and still finds more solutions in Martinelli. That's where I think Martinelli should do better. But I just think from the player and the coaching perspective, it's not working, like, at all. And a lot of that's on the player, but I also don't think the dynamics help him whatsoever.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, listen, there was times in that game we was watching Martinelli, 1-on-1, he was poor, let himself down and all that. But there's an interview going about, I see the other day with Robert Perez, and Robert Perez wasn't one of the quickest players when he played on the left-hand side. And he said to me, like, how did you get a lot of your goals? So I think it might have been Gary Neville said it. How did you get a lot of your goals? He said, from the runner from Ashley Cole. Ashley Cole used to make runs down the left-hand side, and he would tease to give it to him, cut inside and score. Martinelli has got no help from a fullback whatsoever. I do see it with Saka. Every time Saka gets the ball, Ben White overlaps. It then says to the defender, is he going to play in Ben White or is he going to go on the side? When it's Martinelli, all it is just me and you. Now, when it's me and you, these fullbacks are professional footballers. They know how to defend. So he's finding it very, 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 very difficult. He's always 1-on-1. Now, if you want to go and get a left winger, right, you've got to go and get the best left winger out there who can get the ball in 1-on-1 situations and beat players, because he's not going to have no help from the left back any way, shape or form. And also, if you're a defender and Marino makes that run out wide, or even even if it's Declan Rice that makes that run out there, you know they're not going to get it. You know it's a decoy run, because even if it is, you can get over there and stop the space. You've got someone like Miles Skelly running at you. You know that if he gets past you, he can cut inside. He's got the pace and power to do it. Ben White has on that side like that. I just think that we're so imbalanced with our wingers. It's unreal. Saka's here and Martinelli's down there. And if I'm going to be really honest about it, all 3 forwards done hardly anything. You know, Saka got man of the match for a mishit shot against AC Milan. He didn't really do a lot in the context of the 3 games. Nor did
fan voted, didn't it?
Yeah, that was fan voted. Nor did Kai Havertz and nor did Martinelli. Not one of them stood out. Gyökeres come on for 15 minutes, didn't do anything, like, you know what I mean? So is it the players or is it the system? In my eyes, it's the system, and that has got to be tinkered with.
Can I just say that I think there's a stat, excuse me, there's a stat that says last season Arsenal were second or third, I think second, in balls won back in the final third. So balls that we won from opposition around their area, right? I think we're second. United were quite high in that list as well, actually, but they just couldn't convert. And a friend of mine, I won't name him, but a friend of mine has a theory that the Gyökeres and the Madueke signings are to upgrade on Havertz and the Flirter for that reason. So when we win the ball back high, those 2 guys are direct. Gyökeres and Madueke are very direct in the way that Martinelli and Havertz are just not. And I'm going to make a prediction here that I think Madueke takes that left wing spot by Christmas. I think by Christmas, if we don't sign a left winger, which I don't think we will, I think Madueke is our starting left winger after 15 games this season. I really think we can talk about Madueke's flaws. I don't think any of us are kind of bowled over by the signing. None of us are in love with him. But one thing about him that he does do, which the Flirter doesn't do anymore, which I think he used to do, was he's very direct. He gets the ball and he's running at you. Sometimes too much, to the point where he loses the ball. But he gets the ball, I'm running at you. I'm at my fullback. And I think that is what Arteta might like. And I'm predicting that after 15 or so games, Madueke will be our starting left winger.
Yeah, I agree.
I haven't seen enough for me to say Arteta might like that, though, because, again, going back to what we said earlier, I think Declan Rice in a double pivot facilitates for that transition more. You know, for years under Wenger, right? And it's the more we talk about it now, the more similarities I find. For years under Wenger, I looked at our side and I said, this side is better equipped for counter-attacking football. but we just went in with the possession-based stuff, and I think it limited a Walcott. I think it limited a Gervinho. I think it limited a Mesut Ozil, who in a quicker transition work a lot better, and the proof was in the pudding in terms of their strengths and their attributes and their weaknesses as well. I think similar can be said for this team in terms of, I think Odegaard 22-23 was the best version of him. I think Martinelli 22-23 was the best version of him. But I still haven't seen enough to believe that's what, the route we're going to go down, because we brought in Norgard, for example, who, all right, if Zubimendi's out, Norgard's a completely different profile of number 6. I think he's more of a Declan Rice profile of 6 than he is a Zubimendi. So what was the need there? Is it because, he still wants to do what he's been doing in terms of dominating, condensing the pitch with Lewis Skelly coming in? I just haven't seen, and it's only 3 games, but these were the games, in my opinion, to see something different in. And I'm still, with the Madueke one, I'm kind of annoyed with Mikel with Madueke. People are probably saying it doesn't take much Turkish. It probably doesn't. But, if Madueke wanted to come pre-season, and there's been so much hype around the signing and misconceptions or whatever it is, if he wants to come, then bring him along. You don't have to play him per se, but bring him along and give him minutes, maybe at the North London. So let's see what he's about, because I'm still confused as to what Madueke is going to play, what position he's going to play, what he's actually going to bring, because I haven't seen a change yet in Mikel's style in these 3 games for me to say, yeah, Madueke comes in on that left wing. I'm still a bit. In fact, is when you see Dalman come out of nowhere, and Ethan's contract, is it sorted or pretty much sorted, and he's getting more minutes centrally, it makes me feel like the mold of left-footed players, we're at the limit with it. So what is the role for Madueke in this side? That, I think, that is the next most intriguing thing. We know what Gyökeres brings, we know what we have to do to facilitate him bringing those things, and that's the goals. What part does Madueke play in this?
Because Jordan's right, he'll be the starting left winger.
You think?
The amount I watched our wingers try to go around the outside, it actually got me. I couldn't believe I was thinking it. I was thinking, we need Madueke on the pitch, like as a left footer with his pace, directness. I think he's a better ball carrier than Nelson, Trossard, or Martinelli. I think on his left foot, I could see him getting the beating and actually being quite a good. I think he could provide good service for a Gyökeres or for someone attacking the box. Like, I actually think he's quite suited to that. But the problem is, it goes back to actually what you guys were saying before. I don't think any of us feel like we've signed bad footballers. And actually, during the whole hysteria around signing Madueke, no one once said, I don't rate Madueke, he's not a good footballer. No one thinks that. The question was about whether we were really signing the best in class to compete with Wirtz and maybe Isak going to Liverpool and Shirky and Reinders and whoever going to Man City. So let's see. But Madueke right now, in our squad, is absolutely the most suited to playing out on that side and getting the most out of what Arteta wants currently for this system. But I keep asking, can we sign Eze? Can we put him on the left and use him the way we used Smith Rowe on the left when he had Tierney bombing up and down the other side? Because he wasn't really a left winger. He was more of a second 10 alongside Ødegaard. Can we get Eze in that team? Imagine, guys, a box midfield of Zubimendi, Rice, Eze, Ødegaard. It's got everything. It's got absolutely everything. It's got final third quality. It's got that kind of roaming playmaking of an Ødegaard. It's got the deep line playmaking of Zubimendi. It's got the box-to-box nature of a Rice. There's still plenty of physicality and presence in there. It's got everything. That's why I want our left winger to evolve as a role, and then Eze's more suited to it. But if we're going to sign Eze to chuck him on the touchline, well, we've got the same problems. We might be a little bit better than what we got, but we're going to have the same problems ultimately.
Yeah.
Also, I think one thing is we've got to say, I know it sounds we've been a little bit harsh and everything and all that. These tours are not about. They're not all really about preparation for the season. It's about the money side of it and all that. Like, it's now when they're back home to the end of the season, they've got 2 weeks where it really starts. So maybe Madueke didn't come on this because this is when it really matters now. Like, I do expect to see a lot more improvement in these next 2 games because it's all about minutes, getting people in the travelling, the time, and all that. It is very, very difficult for these guys. This is where it matters now, and I like to think we'll see what sort of shape and team that Mikel's going to play.
But can I say though, Lee, and for those listening to the pod who think maybe we're sort of absolutely bashing what happened on pre-season or on tour, should I say. I don't think we had a bad tour. I know we lost to Tottenham. That's really annoying. But I thought AC Milan, the first half was dull as anything, but I thought the second half was a bit better. I thought against Newcastle we were good, actually. Not great, but I thought we were good, albeit they rotated a lot. And then against Spurs, we weren't great, but I didn't think we were terrible. My frustration about what happened on tour was that I didn't come away feeling like we'd seen new ideas.
Yeah.
But I still think as a pure platform, where are we? We're a good / very good team. We're just not a great team. We're waiting for Arsenal after £200 million and a sixth season going in under this project. We're waiting to see if we are a great team like we were in 23-24, enough to feel that we can knock Liverpool and Man City out of our way and finally win the title. That's what we're trying to see. So, no, I didn't come away from tour going, oh no, we're a shambles of a team. We still defended well. We still pressed well. We still have a good structure. The work rate is there. The buy-in is there. I've got no problem with all of that. But we're just looking for that level up, and I don't think we saw it. Now, we might see it against Villarreal and Bilbao, but with all due respect to those oppositions, does that get us ready for Liverpool in a few weeks and then the trip to Newcastle? I don't know. Let's see. But I really hope at least we see new ideas. I'd rather win 1 or 2-0 on Wednesday, having seen Arsenal do different things. Rice box to box, on the right, Erdegaard more on the 10, Madueke left wing doing things, Gyökeres maybe nicking a goal. I'd love to see that as opposed to a 4-5-0 win, but the ideas have been the same. We know that when Arsenal's plan A clicks, we know we're great. Like, we know that. We beat Man City 5-1, we beat Real Madrid 3-0. We know our plan A when it works is great, but people are catching on. It's been caught on for a little while now. Time to evolve.
Yeah, we need to reinvent. And the transfer stuff has gone quiet. So as much as I say we need 2 players, I mean the way they're leaving it, I think one more would suffice for a lot of people, especially before that game week 1 Man United game, because the start of the season, it's a tasty start to the season. There's 3 big 6 fixtures in there. Add the Newcastle one in as well, and a few of those being away. We need to be ready, and there's 2 more games left until that time. Do you lot think we sign Eze, or do you think
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we got to
It
sign
seems like
him.
it's all on that. I think Turkish, from my perspective, that makes it a great window for get Eze in, and I would be happy for Arsenal to stop there personally. I think there's enough solutions in there. I think there's enough quality. Other people see it differently. Think we need a left winger. I think they feel that the club probably feel that there's a pressure to get a 10 and a left winger, and will only do the 10. So I think for a lot of people, it will feel underwhelming anyway. But for me, it will feel like I'm happy with that. I think we've got what we need.
Yeah,
We need
Madueke,
some
the left
outgoings.
winger.
Sorry, but we need some outgoings as well. So because if Eze comes in, I think we will sign Eze. You might then have a slightly bloated squad. You need to get your Zinchenko's, your Vieiras, your Nelsons, your Lokongas, all these guys off the books.
But
You gotta,
Nelson, Vieira, Lokonga, I agree. They can all go, albeit Nelson looked quite good on preseason. But Nelson, Vieira, Lokonga, they can all go. There's no question about that. But I'd keep Zinchenko. I'd keep Trossard and Martinelli because while I think we've had a very good window, maybe I said the word great, but I think we've had a very good window. I'm not confident enough to let go of. Like, if we sign Rodrigo, I'd say sure, let Martinelli or Trossard go. But I'd still want. I don't know. Did you get what I'm trying to say?
I do, but I'm also just thinking, and I guess it's not my job to think about this, but I'm just thinking money, just thinking wages.
Yeah, well,
Zinchenko's not on a small contract. If you're going to bring in Eze, you've still got Trossard and the Flirt on the books. I just think at some point you've got to balance the books.
yeah,
You know
but
what I mean?
there's quality in those players. Like, so I keep talking about Arsenal needing more technicians in the team. Now, to be fair, Lewis Skelly is a wonderfully technical player, but I keep Zinchenko for that reason alone. I still think there's games where he can absolutely play a part. Again, I don't think anyone thinks Zinchenko's a bad footballer. With Trossard, a lot of people see him as maybe the 1-2 let go if you sign an Eze because they're more like for like. But even on pre-season, Trossard was doing things like shooting from 25, 30 yards and actually asking questions of the keeper when it's actually, he wins the ball back with Mourinho for that equaliser against Newcastle. There's still things that Trossard does. When we're talking about needing match-winning quality in the team, one of the few people who has it is Leandro Trossard. So I'm kind of inclined to keep him. Can he play with an Eze? I agree with you on some of those which we've mentioned, Nelson, Vieira, Lokonga, but otherwise, I'd be keeping all of them if I'm honest. We need a big squad.
With Shinchenko as well, I'm with you on this, James. Especially with Calafiori, he doesn't seem to be able to go 2 or 3 games without getting injured again. He's injured again, and if you're going to be maybe losing Kivio, and so Calafiori is going to be the backup to Gabriel. There could be still a role for Shinchenko. I do think that, So, and I'm with you. I don't know where all this bad footballing art's come from. He's still a good footballer. He actually showed little glimpses in the tour that he's still a good player.
It's something that it plays a part in my rating for the window, but sooner or later it needs to be addressed. And I think none more prevalent than this summer when you look at Liverpool and the work they're doing outgoing wise to facilitate their next big incoming, or even a Chelsea to a lesser level. Their outgoings facilitate new incomings, and whether it works or not, we see the seasons pan out. But it'd be nice to feel like, all right, Eze's coming in now. And now, we're selling these players to get a Leao bid, to get a Rodrigo bid, to finish off a transfer window the way it's meant to be finished off. Whereas it seems like we are tying that into an Eze. But the reality is, on top of last season's squad, we've lost 5, brought in 6. So, I get bloated when you're bringing in Nelson or Vieira, Lokonga, 3 players that didn't have a part to play last year. They wasn't on the books. But the reality is, in terms of what we had last year, we're -5 +6. So really, as much as numbers, if you say 6 sounds great, we are +1 up on a light squad last year that in the end let us down. In the end, Arteta's, kicked and pushed about it in January and a few times in press conferences. So I still feel like that worry is still there. So two players would I still say it's a good window at this moment in time, 6 out of 10. And if we sign Eze, it pushes it close to an 8, especially with a couple outgoings. And then to really push it towards that 9-10 mark, we go in for, and you might be greedy, but I mean, Man City have been greedy over the years. Liverpool have been greedy over the years. United have been greedy. I grew up on them being greedy. Chelsea have been greedy. It's Tottenham that haven't. Who are we closer to? Them big clubs or Tottenham? I mean, I know the answer to that. It's time that we were a bit greedy in the window as well, because, we've waited a long time. We've been patient, whether it's 6 years of trust in the process or 20 years of the Emirates Stadium. There's been a hell of a lot of patience in the fan base.
Oh, I agree. This is for me. This is the year when we, it tells you everything you need to know about this club. No real big transfers last season in the summer like that. No game changers. Nothing in January. So this is a time when we want it. I look at Liverpool. They just won the title and just gone and got the best player. Or if I get these, they've gone and got the best players in those positions that are available. And Chelsea, going under the radar what they're doing at the minute. They've got a top backup striker to go with another striker. They've got They're not worried about balancing the books at this moment in time. They're doing it all that. I think with Chelsea, they've still not. Talking to a Chelsea fan yesterday, they've still not got a goalkeeper in, and they're still lacking central defenders. But Arsenal, what we are close, but what we need now is the top signings. You know what I mean? Like to get us over the line, and Eze's one of them. If it's not Eze, it's got to be something damn near close. And that, for me, like a Morgan Rogers or someone else like that coming in, and I'm fed up. I'm fed up with people turning around and going, "Oh, it's going to be expensive. You're going to pay English tax on it." You know what I mean? Liverpool are not worried about that. Manchester City are not worried about that. Chelsea fans not worried about that. They don't care. They don't care how much money's being spent. But Arsenal fans, we've got to do this and got to do that. We need, at the end of the day, there's no expense spared, is it, on new kits? No expense spared on season tickets. So why is there an expense spared on transfers? Get the right people in that's going to push us over the line. Now, I'm going to be really honest with you guys. I don't think it's Arteta's going to be the man to do it. I really don't. So what do you need next? You need the players, and probably the players are more important than the coach. Get the players in, and that will get us over the line.
Yeah, you'd hope so. Go on, Jordan.
Can I just flag something a bit more lighthearted? I mean, I saw one video I did see over the summer. I saw our brother Curtis talking about the 14 shirt going to Gyökeres, and he said that the shirt should have been retired after like it should have been retired, right, because of Thierry Henry and his legacy. I was like, what? didn't quite like the whole number thing. It doesn't bother me. I don't
Ridiculous.
care about the number thing. I don't care. It's not important to me. But when he said that, I'm gonna text him later and be
I
like,
said it as well, so you can say it straight.
you did it as well. I'm texting you too, then Turkish. What are we doing here?
Bro, did you know the fond memories that this number and this man gave me as an Arsenal fan? But I get it, you know, I get that. It's unrealistic, but
I just the whole Gyökeres getting the number 14. I'm like, I don't know. I don't
have a problem with Gyökeres getting it. By the way, it's just that you know.
I don't think centre forward number 9 should have a 14. I don't know, listen, I've brought up, if I got number 14, like that, I didn't want number 14 as a bloody sub. You know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden, Thierry Henry has made this. I don't think it's such a big thing, like, you know? I think Gyökeres should have had the 10, in my opinion.
Nah, man. I think give Eze that.
More of a forwards number, is it? A 10's more of a forwards number. I think 14's more of a winger's number, isn't it? Or am I just?
But guys, it doesn't matter what we think of the numbers. It matters whether Gyökeres cares about it. And I don't know if I saw a quote from him, but the point is he knows that number carries weight in the fan base, and he's decided he wants it. So, whatever we think, he's inviting pressure on himself.
But I guess that's my point, though. The pressure. I don't think that number has pressure on it. I know we all deify Henry. Greatest player to play for Arsenal, probably in my opinion. I'm sure some of you would agree with that. I love Thierry Henry. But when he said retire the shirt, I mean, Maldini won bloody 5 Champions Leagues over 20 years for Milan. Like, you might retire that shirt. Like, Liverpool have just retired Jota's 2020 shirt. He's passed away. Like, the point I'm making is that the bar, I think, is a bit low. To retire Henry's number 14, I just thought, what? It's such a low bar.
Listen,
do you know what it is? Because the club have also, gone. I mean, since that era, the way we've moved and what the way we move has produced has made that era even more one that I look at and just hold up to such a high regard. Do you get what I'm saying? Whereas, maybe you look at a Man United who had great strikers, York, Cole, but then they went on to have great strikers in Rooney or Tevez or Berbatov or Christian. Whereas we, after that era, and then you see Eddie Nketiah running around with the number 14 on, and you think, like, once upon a time I saw a real magician in this shirt. Like, let me just leave that image in my head. So I'm not saying I'm right. I'm actually wrong. I agree with you. Like, you can't be retiring the shirt, but still, it's the club's fault. Like, it's the club's fault how me feeling more about it now than I did, 15 years ago.
But to be fair, guys, we're talking about our greatest ever player, our greatest ever goal scorer, a man who's got a statue outside the Emirates, a man who, like, he's an invincible. What did he win?
Shirt, James. That feels like.
But we're not. I'd agree if we. So I think we talked about this Turkish. I'd agree if he wore the number 9. I wouldn't retire that because it's such a. It's one of the key. If it's 1 to 11, I think you got to have done something like beyond. Like you mentioned Maldini. But because it's 14, who cares about the 14? It's made iconic by him. He made that number a number that people wanted to wear. So I think retiring it to honor that would have been cool. Like I said, if he wore 7 or 10 or 11 or 9, I would say no, probably not, because that's a number that someone should be representing Arsenal in. But 14, I mean, you can Walcott, Aubameyang, and Nketiah, now Gyökeres since. Like, none of them are going to be Thierry Henry. So just retire it.
But I think the point I'm making is, and it's quite frivolous, but I don't think Thierry Henry, no matter what number he wore, I don't think he did enough to retire any number. He was a great, but he didn't win us a Champions League final. He wasn't with us for 30 years.
An invincible. Like, we've got.
But the impact he had.
Come on, retiring a shirt number.
But he wasn't just a goal scorer. He's seen by many as the greatest Premier League player ever. Like, I don't really know what more he could have done. I know you win the Champions League, but, like, okay, we're a red card or, like, defending a near post away from actually having that.
Never scored in a final, James.
Sorry?
Never scored in a final.
Aye. Let's not. We're going into a
No, I
realm
was just
I don't want to
like,
be
you know
into
what I
in
mean?
here.
At the end of the
This
day,
Oh, my
podcast will
word.
break
Theory.
up.
to
This
be an
podcast will
invincible,
break up
to be
right
an,
now.
no, to be an invincible, you don't become an invincible without Patrick Vieira. You don't become an invincible without Thierry Henry. You don't become an invincible without Robert Perez. So I don't think you should do one. If you're going to do that, you've got to do it with a lot of them.
I agree.
So
You don't do anything in football without the others.
Yeah,
You
there's
don't
always.
score. You don't score in a final without the others playing their part as well.
Exactly. It's a team. I tell you, Arsenal do not win the things that they won if Patrick Vieira does not play in that team.
But there's someone that like look.
More contributions than anybody. If you have a look at all the big games, Henry at Old Trafford wasn't there. Bergkamp wasn't there. Vieira was. Vieira's a big part of it. And not being horrible, Per Mertesacker wear the number 4 after him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, so you can be. I don't think. I get what you're saying about Thierry Henry. I don't think he should be retiring any number. That's my opinion.
But what we're saying is he made a number iconic. I promise you, before Thierry,
100% he did. Martin Keown
wore
wore it before him. If I believe it. Was it Martin
right,
Keown?
exactly. So when you've taken a number and you've met, and by the way, I'm probably insulting other greats who have worn the 14 before, but when it comes to our club and maybe in the Premier League, I imagine there is like
100%. I agree with what you're saying.
Thierry Henry made it a number that honestly I remember rocking up to football on Sundays. The striker wanted to wear 14, like not number 9. That's crazy.
That's a fantastic point. Yeah, because like before the 7, the 9, the 10 have been going through years and years.
Yeah.
100%. He made 14 an iconic number. He's made 14 like a 7 and a 10, isn't he? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I get.
What about your namesake? Because Michael Jordan needed Scottie Pippen, he needed Dennis Rodman, but it's the 23 that gets retired because he is the star.
But I'm glad you mentioned that. Because James said no. If it was like a 9, you can't retire that. If Thierry Henry won 4 Champions Leagues, 4 Premier Leagues, greatest scorer in Arsenal's history, greatest Prem, I wouldn't be against retiring number 9. Like if he did all of that, and someone said we should retire the number 9 shirt, I wouldn't be against that. So the numbers irrelevant. It's just the idea of retiring a number. The bar's got to be high. I mean, Michael Jordan, look at what he did. If someone said 23, we're retiring it, I'd be like, cool. Because what he did was off the charts. It was off the charts. So the club are going to retire that number. No arguments. But when Curtis said retire it, he might have been tongue-in-cheek. I'll watch it back.
I just don't know why we're acting like what Thierry Henry did wasn't off the charts.
Yeah,
maybe in terms of team accolades, like, there could have been maybe a couple more. But you know, 3 titles, invincible, the goals, and also the football he played. He wasn't just a goal scorer. Like we're giving Gyökeres is wearing the number 14 shirt, but all I need him to do is put the ball in the back of the net. I'm not asking him to look like a gazelle, just gliding through players and mesmerizing, getting us off his feet. Gyökeres isn't going to do that. But Henry was both the player you wanted to watch with the numbers to go with it. I mean, he was off the charts. So we should retire
for France, but they don't retire his number.
No, but I mean, like, and I get what you're saying. But even that that number 5 with Zidane, I mean, the number 10.
No, 10 for France. He was 10.
Yeah, I know 10. Yeah.
12. Henry was 12 for France. I don't think he was even 14 for France, was he?
No, he was 12.
No, 12 was his favorite number. He was 12. He was 28 at Monaco, changed to 12, came to Arsenal, took 14. That's why he took 12 when he came back.
Yeah. So 14's not his favorite number.
He just made. I mean, Van Basten, obviously, in terms of world football, he was a number 14, and he was, he made it what it was. But obviously, I think you're right, James. He was off the charts. Henry, from when opposition fans tend to agree generally that the best player in Premier League history,
it was it without doubt.
Is that means he done something there that and there's been many a great player, many of Henry won 2 league titles. So many players have won much more than that in terms of their career in English football.
Not an argument. Best
Henry
player
is
best player ever played Premier League.
Look what Salah done last season, but Henry's better. Look what a few seasons.
No argument.
He's better. Look what Rooney done over 10, 12 years, but Henry's better. Look what Shearer's goals, but Henry just transcended, Premier League football.
Bergkamp's unbelievable. Bergkamp's unbelievable player.
Yeah.
But if you was to say Bergkamp and Henry takes Bergkamp out, you know what I mean? Which is unbelievable to say.
Mad. I mean, the way they treated the number 10, giving it to Gallas, I wish they retired that too. But again,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
what
they
it's
did
what the
retire
club
it.
does,
They did
innit?
retire it for a year, like, you know what I mean? That was a
Yeah.
retirement, giving it to
Yeah,
Gallas. Well, that
Yeah.
just shows you about numbers, you know what I mean? Like, that was a ridiculous decision.
Yeah.
Who allowed that to happen? You know what I mean? That is terrible.
Wenger. But yeah, we move. All right, cool.
Awesome.
I think we've covered everything we need to cover. We're not missing nothing, right? No.
No, I think next couple of pods, if Max Dowman gets more minutes, I think we'll talk about him in
Yeah,
detail.
I think
I don't
that's
think we
good.
need to
We
do it
left on the
now
burner.
because I think it'll be really interesting if he gets those minutes at the Emirates as we're really gearing up towards the season. That will tell us
Yeah.
how much he's a part of Arteta's plan. So yeah, let's
I've got
Okay.
thoughts on him as well. So next pod we'll get into him.
Cool. Calm it
Maybe
down.
the number 10 shirt?
He's 15 years old, brother. Yeah. Just remember that before the next show. People, we're going to wrap it up here. No comments of the day, but we are going to get back into that from now moving forward. So make sure you stick around at the end of the shows for that. But I do want to.
Jordan, I've got to get out of the sun,
actually
Jordan.
wanna, part of missing Jordan is part.
Sorry, no. So Lee's got to go. It can wait. It can wait.
No, I just want to big up Charles over in Hong Kong who sorted us out. He's a big fan
Yeah,
of the
top
channel,
guy.
individual channel as well. Top guy, showed us around and also hosted us for one night. I want to big up Sid over in Singapore as well. From Malaysia actually, but helped us out in Singapore too, and the Riot Boys as well. The Run Your Own Thing.
The Riot Boys, love them.
Yeah. So I just
great guys.
Big up to a few people. And listen, people, I mean, Jordan's going to remain on the show. So everyone that did ask me whilst we were away to replace Jordan, I mean, there's nothing we can do. Like, he signed a long-term deal.
I've signed the contract, guys.
Here like
I'm going nowhere. It's a 5-year deal.
So, yeah, apologies to the Singaporeans and the Hong Kongers out there. Jordan will remain a part of the show moving forward. Go on. What do you want to interrupt me about?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, no, but it's a quick one. I was yesterday, those kiosk booths that people have on the street where they're kind of selling you something.
Yeah.
I'm cycling, just coming home from Central, and this guy shouting out, yeah, you want to? And he said to me, AFTV, and he's bigging me up. But he also said, and James, big up James, I like James too, love James. So I wanted to give James some love because he was shouting me out, obviously, because he loved me. But he also
thank you.
I'll tell you something. If he loves James, he doesn't love you. He just used you as the transition to tell.
He said he's been nice. He's been nice to me. He's been polite.
I don't think you can love Jordan and love James. I think that's two very different. Yeah.
I've missed 5 minutes to sun for that. Thank you, Jordan.
Sorry.
Yeah, let lead judges get to the swimming pool, Lee. Is that what you're going to do?
Thank you very much.
No worries. Lee, James, Jordan, as always, love people, community, as always, love individual channels. You already know what it is, but we'll be back again sometime end of the week, maybe early next week. Obviously, the Premier League is kicking off real soon. Community Shield is this weekend, Liverpool versus Palace. We'll see how they set up. Isak, Newcastle, hold on, please. Hold on. He's your player. 3 years left on his contract. Hold on, stamp your foot down, play old Alan Shearer videos and try and persuade him like Gerrard persuaded Suarez all those years ago. Promise him that another team will come in for him next summer. Please. Please.